Hello. Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are, ladies and jellyfish. Welcome to the still nameless CRE Outreach podcast. And I think at this point, it's nameless by choice. I'm your host, Coco Atama, and I'm accompanying you on this rather unique journey. This is unique because for once, I'm on a screen. You all can see me. I mean, I can't see you, and I don't know if I ever have been able to insert joke about blindness here. I'll find it. It's there. It's in the script. It's somewhere. Someone's script. Someone's got the joke. Either way, we are on a video chat because while we're dealing with the pandemic and social distancing, I figured this would be a really nice way to help engage both with you, the viewer, but also all of the interviewees that we will be talking to in this episode. So today, we're going to reach out to people from Veterans, Empowerment Theater, Theater by the Blind, and Rex and Friends. And we're going to check in and see how each of those groups and the people within them are coping during these difficult times, because we all are in it together. And I think it always helps to remember that. So without further ado, let's see what we can't get up to. All right, joining us in the studio, which isn't a studio, it's a Zoom room, or it's a garage. It's the existential crisis that is video chats. Joining us from Los Angeles, Judy Levacy or Judy Welch. I couldn't decide which name to use. I like them both. So welcome, Judy. How are you feeling today?
Oh, Coco, thank you for having me as one of your guests today. It's truly wonderful, I should say, and I actually feel honored because you're such an amazing young man. And I'm feeling awesome today. I'm glad to be alive. I'm glad that, I'm able to just exist in the world of so much tragedy, and you don't know which direction to go. Well, some people don't know which direction to go and what to do.
I think that's the beauty of it all, is the uncertainty, because while we don't know what's happening, I think as we exist, as you put it, and I actually say the same thing all the time, existing and coexisting, I think, is
Right.
most important nowadays.
Right.
And so I wanted to ask you, first off, this whole interface right now, being on a video chat instead of in a studio with microphones and everything, how does this feel to you? Doing it at home?
Well, I have my mixed emotions about it. One thing, I think it's great because I don't have to leave out of my home. I can just leave the bathroom from putting my makeup and stuff on and sit right here in a chair. I don't have to, an hour or so.
For me?
I don't have to worry about, okay, I gotta leave for like a half an hour or so, or an hour to come to the studio for preparation and everything. I get to do it all myself. I gotta set up my own technology and do my own hair, do my own makeup and stuff. But when you're trying to be a star, a celebrity, you don't mind sitting up and letting everybody do it for you. That's one of the drawbacks. And just miss interacting with people as well. If I was in the studio with you, I would give you of course, give you this great big hug and, and say, hey, Coco, I missed you. Yay, we're doing something together.
That is really the big question, is when do you think we'll be able to hug again? Because this is kind of scary with this whole virus, how fast it spreads, how easily it spreads. The social distancing thing, it makes a lot of sense. So when will we hug again?
That's a good question. And me not being a physician or someone in the medical field, I really can't say. What I'm doing for me, I'm watching the news. I listen to Dr. Fauci. I listen to one of my favorite shows, which I love to watch, is The View. And I listen and I watch the news and everything to pay attention. And but the saddest thing right now is it's all coming back, and the hospitals and the stays in the hospitals, the hospital beds are getting filled back up again, and there's more people dying again because it is coming back. And if you have an underlying condition like I do, and I have an underlying health issue, I have to be concerned because you know how they say essential workers? Well, I'm an essential person to my family. So I govern myself accordingly. And I do stay within 6 feet, even with my family and everything. We just we stay apart from each other. And that's the saddest thing, because I do have two, well, actually four wonderful grandchildren, and the youngest is a 2-year-old. And actually, Mila just turned 5 months yesterday. So even though they were over here yesterday because of something that was going on in their apartment, but still, they're very cautious. I'm cautious. We just have to be careful when things are going to open up. Coco, we don't know.
It's
We don't know.
actually, it is really scary. And
Yeah.
I think being in your situation, having a family that you care about and all of these things, and it's got to be difficult. I know people who are delivering groceries to their friends, neighbors, children, grandchildren, cousins, uncles, everyone. So I guess if there is one silver lining to all this, yes, it is scary. Yes, things are uncertain. However, I think this is one of the greatest times to see people really coming together and really opening up and showing who they love and why they love and how they love.
And you know what? I agree with you, because what I'm noticing and what I'm seeing, especially within my own family, is that the bond. You know, even though me and my sons and I, we have always been close and everything, but they're now able to, and not just my family, but all family, majority of the families out there, they're able to, you know, enjoy their families more and appreciate their husband, their wife, their grandmother, their children, son, daughter. They're able to appreciate them more because they're able to spend time with them. And I want to say this, they're able to appreciate the school system, because they now have to stay home, be at home, and teach their children, you know, from kindergartners, preschool, all the way up to high school. These parents are now able to see what some of the teachers go through when
Really
they let their child go to school, you know, and they're admitting, you know what, this is difficult. You know, especially if you have somebody that you have to go learn math and stuff, and you're not a math person. How do you teach them math? It's like you're in school along with them.
Yeah, it's honestly the transition from student to teacher, parent to teacher, teacher to student,
Yep.
because even the teachers, they're learning how to use Zoom and all these
Yes, they
online
are.
lessons, and they're moving things from physical papers and textbooks all to online. So the
Yes.
teachers are learning just as much as the students are at this point. And I think
Right.
one thing that I want to touch on that you said was people are really appreciating the people around them, but I also think people are finding a new appreciation for the things around them. I see people
Yes.
everywhere taking up new hobbies, whether it be gardening, learning a musical instrument when they previously thought they couldn't. In fact, art in general, and I guess the theme of CRE as a whole, and so
Yes.
vicariously this podcast, art is honestly the tool to help anyone conquer anything. So I wanted to ask you, what have you been up to art-wise? How has this affected you as a performer?
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you said that. Well, I'm still involved, of course, with CRE and Veterans Empowerment Theater. And the one thing that we are doing, and I'm in the process of starting actually probably next week, because I actually wanted to start this week, is a monologue class, a 4-week monologue class just for vets, of course. And we're going to be able to, I'm going to be able to interact with them. And we're going to actually, this is how I set it up. Instead of me just teaching and showing, I want the participants, the vets, to have a say-so. I want them to be able to help another vet and say, hey, you know, I like your monologue, but let's try it like this. Hey, let's try it like that, or say it like this, or say it like that. But that monologue that person is writing will still be their words, but just a little input from the other writers that's in the class. And I think that's it is a great thing. And also with our new vet show coming up, Jesse, the director, and we have been communicating with the actors, and we're going to start doing Zoom lessons, Zoom rehearsals and everything, so we can get ready for our show. Hopefully we'll be able to come back to the theater and put on our show there. Another thing that I thought about, and I'm working, is a comedy class. And we're doing online, a comedy class, which will be taught by another vet. Because, one thing, I just believe in putting in so many vets. And because I just, yes, I'm the program coordinator for Veterans Empowerment Theater. Everyone knows that. But I want to incorporate so many vets, bring in so many vets, because they are just as talented, I should say, as I am. And they have a lot of ideas and dreams, and they just want to help vets. We call sister vets, and bro vets. And we just want to be there to help each other.
I kind of like the idea, because it's collaborative. It's everyone feeding into, giving off of, and giving back to everyone. It's not like a monarchy. I'm in charge now. Listen to me and only me. It's everyone has a voice.
Right. Now, on a personal issue, as far as what I'm doing is, I started my book. I started writing a book, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm actually doing that with I have a book coach, and her name is Willow Robinson. And I started writing this now. It's been 2 weeks, and I'm writing a book about my own personal life growing up in foster care, and the mental and physical.
I think that would give a lot to people I think that subject alone will give a lot for people to take from. Yes. It's kind of beautiful.
Coco. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing, and that's what this has really taught me, to be more creative and do things, and not just that. I have my son that's here with me, and he's a singer-songwriter. His name is Chris Lyric, and he's been at the keyboard, and he himself has just been so creative in writing songs and doing little short videos and everything as well. So I see it all around me.
I think this is something you have to do. I mean, it's strange to think that a global pandemic would show people how, in a completely, this will sound completely morbid, but in a completely upfront way, life is too short to mess around with something that isn't important.
Right.
And so if you have something you want to do, if you have music you want to write, if you have a book you want to write, a show you want to produce, now is the time. Don't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow might not even be here.
Oh, say that again. Yeah.
I think that was the tagline for this whole podcast, because I think between you and everyone else we're going to talk to later on, I think that's a good theme that people can take away from this, is that life is short. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. We don't know where tomorrow will go, or even if it'll go at all. So if you have something you want to do, a question you want answered, ask it, step on it, jump on it. Don't let anyone push you down or hold you back.
I agree. And, and if some people, this is what I've always said. Some people really don't know what they want to do, and they just let years go past, and they're like, okay, what is it that I should be doing? It's like your driven purpose, your purpose-driven life. And this is what I've always said. Think back when you were a child growing up. What was the first thing that came to your mind that you wanted to be when you grew up? And when you think of that, that's your purpose. Because as a child, you're innocent, growing up, and you think about, and okay, this is what I want. As far as I'm concerned, I've always said, I wanted to be an actress. But I went off and started doing other things. Even though I never lost sight of my acting, I may have put it on a burner and they've been doing a couple of things here and there. And as far as the theater world is concerned and everything, but I went off and I was a paralegal. I joined the military and everything, right? But my mind was always set on being an actress. And that's why I came out here to California to pursue
I
my
think
dream.
you made the right decision, honestly.
So do I.
But I will add to that and say that for someone like me, no matter what I'm doing and whether I'm good at it or not, I ooze confidence. I love everything I do because I make that my life. But I
Right.
feel like another thing you mentioned, looking back to your youngest self, to your purest self. I
Yep.
think another thing that helps with that is if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know what your purpose is, then just try everything. When you're young, you will try everything without fear of being judged, without fear of failure. And if it doesn't work, you just put it down and go to something else. And I think people, as they grow, are forgetting to do that. I think this pandemic is reminding people that you can just try everything until something you like sticks.
Right.
And speaking of togetherness, I actually did want to shift gears for a minute to
Okay.
a bit of a heavier topic in this society right now, but something that is really important, and it is the BLM movement. It is the statements, the protesting, the social media blasts, all the things that are going on for the sake of equality, which, to be honest, if I can insert my own personal opinion, we should not have to do. I think, and I keep forgetting that I'm black in all honesty, but I feel like no matter what color you are, you should not have to fight. You should not have to state and form a movement around insert people matter. We should all matter.
And I agree with you there. Being an African American mom of four sons, four sons. Unfortunately, my oldest one is not here anymore. Um, but I have my three, and I do worry. I tell them, and I've had that talk with them. If you ever get stopped, and they have been stopped. When we were living in Glendale, California, they were stopped, pulled out of the car. Actually was told to get out of the car. They were handcuffed. My older two were handcuffed and put on the sidewalk, handcuffed, while they searched the car. And they just happened to find, because they had my son was driving his girlfriend's car, and she had some marijuana or something in it. But fortunate for them, they were let go, because he did explain, this is not my car, this is not our stuff, and we don't do that. And when they told me about it, I was like, oh my gosh. So I do have that fear of something happening to them. That's why I tell them, your main purpose is, if you ever get stopped, is to do what they say so you can stay alive. And then we'll go after them. Okay. I see so much, and I've been through so much, because and it hasn't stopped. The racism, the N-word, the police brutality has never stopped. Instead of the police, these racist cops, because not all white cops are racist, okay? So I want to clarify that. But instead of these racist cops putting on a white hood and a white robe, and carrying the flame, they're now putting on blue caps, a blue uniform, and carrying a gun. That's what they're doing. The KKK is all over the police department, all up in there. And year after year after year, people have just let it go, just let it go. But now, when because of technology, and they're able to videotape everything, when they had that neck, when that cop had his foot on George's neck, the whole world, the whole entire world was able to see this man being killed, this man being murdered by this white officer. And when he cried out to his mother, I heard somebody say this, when he cried out to his mother, every African American mother felt his pain. He knew he was dying. He probably saw his mother in his vision. Okay. I felt it. Every time I see that, I cry. Because that could have been my son. That could have been you. That could have been any person of color. And it's sad. It is really sad that even in 2020, we're still doing this. And then I want to talk about the looting and the protesting. I'm going to give my opinion about it. I don't care what they loot. I don't care what they burn down. Because first of all, there is an old African prophecy that says a child, I want to get this right, a child that is neglected by his home will return to burn it down just to feel its warmth. That's an African prophecy. And a while back, there was a movie called Rosewood. Okay. In this movie, you had people, it's an African-American town built by Black folks. They had their own bank, they had their own jobs, they had their own everything. And what happened? What happened, Coco? The KKK went in, raped the women, burned down their homes, took everything. They leveled out the town of Rosewood. This is a true movie. So do I feel sorry for Beverly Hills or Rancho Cucamonga or Manhattan Beach or anything? No, I don't. Yes, two wrongs don't make a right. But I'm not going to shed a tear because Manhattan Beach or Beverly Hills is getting looted when your ancestors tore up what was Black owned, and they're still doing it. One thing I noticed that the looters didn't do this time was they didn't loot in their own area. No, they didn't. They took it up higher. They took it up to areas where they probably will never visit or will ever shop in, or too scared to shop in because it may cost them their life. You know, and one thing I love about this, for the first time, Coco, you see people of every nationality protesting, every nationality wearing Black Lives Matter, standing up. I noticed in some of the cities and major cities and stuff, who did I see on the front line when they had the police officers lined up? You saw people, you saw Caucasian people lined up. They were the ones on the front line facing the officers. They did it because they knew or felt that the officers won't touch them. And behind them were all the people of color. They stood up. They stood up. Caucasian people stood up for people like me, people like you, people like my sons, people like George and Ahmaud Arbery. And that felt powerful. That felt powerful. And that's why I always say, no matter, and I say this to my family and and anyone else, no matter what your circumstances is, no matter what you're going through or what this world is going through, God is still in control. And his wrath is coming down. And honestly, I don't look at this as a pandemic. This COVID-19, it's not a pandemic. It's a plague sent by the Almighty.
Judy, you're giving me chills. That is even just that story that you told about the experience that happened with your son, all the way up to the relating to every other community. This right here could be a show. This is a production. I feel like this is a voice that needs to be heard and a story that needs to be told. If it's not a monologue or a spoken word or something, make it that. But we need to turn this into a show, because honestly, you see people across every race, background, and color standing up, because it shouldn't matter. We should all be together for each other. And I feel like, while people seem to be forgetting that as time goes on, as the years, decades, centuries wear on, I feel like more people are starting to be wise to that now than ever. that we should all be fighting on the same team, not against each other. This isn't a competition.
No, and I want to say something else too, because I just learned this today, okay? That it's, you have white supremacy out there, and things are still going on. On Wednesday, in Palmdale, California, at 3 o'clock in the morning, a young African-American male was found hanging from a tree in the square. This happened on Wednesday. It's not on the news. You don't hear about it. You're not seeing it. But if you Google it, that's why I put a post on my Facebook page talking about it. Yes, an African-American male in his 20s was found hanging. And they said it was suicide. I don't know any black man or any person of color, anybody, would hang themselves in the middle of town square in Palmdale. They have videos. There's cameras everywhere. Someone had to see that. That's another black life gone due to prejudice, racist white people. And I say one thing. First of all, I am not racist. I'm half white. My biological mother that I met when I was 22 years old, we have an excellent relationship now. I have a half brother and half sister named Julie and Joey. I have an excellent relationship with them. So I'm not prejudiced at all. But what I hate and what I dislike is people like Orange Face, some people call him 45, creating all this animosity.
I think, well, first off, I stand with you 100%. I will say there's very few things that I hate.
Yeah.
But I think if there's two things, and I know hate is a very strong word, especially
Yes,
right now. You know, people say that they dislike things, they're annoyed by things. But no, I will escalate it. I will say there are two things in this world that I hate. And it's people who are not willing to better themselves or to learn ever. I mean, it doesn't have to be much, but the minute you refuse to learn or improve on anything is when you plateau or decline. Right. But I also cannot stand people who cannot stand people, if that makes sense. If you're going to judge someone, if you're going to belittle someone, if you're even going to go so far as to beat up or even kill someone, in my personal opinion, I say make it be for something that they said or did. Make sure that it's an action, something that can be changed, that can be apologized for, that can be even justified. But if you're going to go so far as to dislike, be annoyed by, argue with, beat up, fight, kill, anything, someone, make sure it's not for something that they could not control. Make sure it wasn't for who they were. Again, while I don't condone violence in most situations, if you're gonna commit an act of violence, make sure it's for something someone said or did. Something that proves that they made a conscious choice to be the way they were, but not for their skin color, their height, their weight, their age, their sexual orientation, anything like that. That's what bothers me. That is something that I can truly say I hate.
Right. And I agree with you. And I just want to go back and say something else too. African Americans are the most hated people on earth. I believe that. Actually, here in the U.S. And you know what? We were brought here on a slave boat. We didn't ask to come here. We were brought here, and the same people that brought us here are trying to continue to kill us and beat us and make us feel that we're worthless. But you know what? They're going to reap what they sow. And I see it all around and everything that's going on. We didn't ask to come here.
It's nature at the end of things, as completely
you know, but, yeah, I'm sorry, but I want to say something. They dislike us, but they're you know, some of them, They want the butt to look like a black woman. They want the lips to look like a black woman. They should go with the curly hair, even though my hair is straight right now, like a black woman. And well, some other things, but I don't want to say all that. But I'm just saying, you hate us, but you want to look like us. Well, some of you want to look like us.
It's actually if you look at like culturally the way that trends and things evolve, like whether it be the fashion statements, the music, it's kind of strange to look at that, how
Yes.
people are adopting sort of what have come to known as black style, black sound.
Yep.
And yet this is all still happening. It's a very odd set of events, but I was going to say, while it is an odd relation, look at, I'm going to mess this up. I'm pretty sure it was Isaac Newton. Every action has an equal reaction.
Yep.
People's actions have consequences, and
yep.
whether it be in a laboratory or on a schoolyard or down on the streets, anywhere, people are starting to realize that, and especially I think in this age of social media, you
right.
can't just say or do whatever you want. Actions have reactions.
You know what? You just took the words out of my mouth, because I've always say that for every action, there's a reaction. Whether it's positive or negative, there's always a reaction.
This is honestly one of the craziest interviews I've ever done in my life. Whether it be for every podcast I've done on my channel, anything, this is one of the craziest interviews I've ever had. My internal clock got busted. I have no idea how long we've been running, but what I will say,
what time
I don't care. I'm not bothered by this.
It's 11:54.
Okay, then we have been going a lot longer than I thought we would, but I'm not bothered, because I think the story that you told, the expression that you brought, this is something that the world needs to hear. So I may add an aside at the start of the podcast stating that it will be longer than usual, but I think this is something that people need to hear. I think you coming on the show and on a video chat so people can see your beautiful face. I can't see it physically, but I can tell you from your personality that it is a beautiful face.
Oh, Coco.
I think this is something that people need to hear, and this is something that people need to know, because this is real. This is not some produced, Hollywood, dramatized, whatever. This is real. This is life. These are people with feelings and a soul, and I'm just blown away, Judy. I love you so much. I don't want to say goodbye, but I also want to keep things moving. But
I know you have to.
I think you said so much, though. I think this is beautiful. I love you. I will say that. I love you. I love I love people in general.
Yes, you do, hon.
And so, honestly, Judy, what can I say after that? Just, you rock. Keep on rocking. And please, keep me posted on that book, on the book, on the play, the monologues. Keep me posted on everything that you do, and I will support in any way that I can.
I know you always do, sweetheart. You always do. And I love you too. I do.
I was going to say, though, any last words? We've been going on for so long, but anything, if you had to say one sentence to everyone in the world right now as a piece of advice to the world from you, what would it be?
Keep the faith. I'm sorry, a motorcycle drove past. I was going to say, keep the
motorcycle. Keep the motorcycle.
Keep the faith. God is in control.
That's what I say. That is a perfect t-shirt sized slogan. I love you, Judy. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too, honey.